Hello, ladies. You're going to have to bear with me since I'm not home and I don't have my desk. We got to kind of do Free Coaching Friday a little awkwardly today. So I am going to start by reading the questions in the thread. Okay, Tiffany, where do you find clients? Facebook groups? What is the process for this? Tiffany, that is a loaded question. The problem is, Tiffany, you can't just ask what is the process for it? Because the process is literally how you build your entire business off of. It's not like there's just one thing that coaches do in order to find clients. They do a variety of different things. So I would say if you're not sure how to find clients at all, I would invest in a business coach and have them help you out. But I can't really answer that question by giving you one set specific thing because it's not one set specific thing. I do not go into other groups and network myself. I do not go into other groups and network my offers, my freemiums, or my opportunities. I used to go into Badass Business Babes a lot, but then stopped doing that because of a lot of reasons. But I stopped doing that once I kind of found out that they could take your posts and just use them. So I stopped really participating in that group. So I don't network my services in other people's groups. I also don't like networking myself, even if I belong to a group and a group has a networking Monday or a Market Yourself Monday or whatever on Wednesdays. I don't do it. I just don't. There's not one group I do it in. So it's kind of a loaded question, Tiffany. I can't answer, I would be on, this would be like a 6-hour training because there's a bunch of different things that you need to be doing in order to get a client. First and foremost, I'll tell you, if you're not showing up in your business, if you're not showing up with a social media presence, if you're not going on live videos, that's your number one mistake right there. If your messaging isn't correct, that's your number one mistake right there. Well, that's number two mistake. You need to figure out who your ideal client avatar is. You need to figure out your messaging. You need to figure out your closed Facebook group. You need to figure out your brand. It's a huge loaded question. And so if you don't know the question to any of those, I would say hire a business coach. It doesn't have to be me. It can be any other business coach. But if you don't take a program and you don't learn how to do those things, no one is going to give you that advice for free. No one is, if you posted this on another coach's Free Coaching Friday, they're not going to be here's all of my secrets for free. That's kind of what their bread and butter is. That's how they make their money. I would have to let you know every single thing I teach in Badass Bitch Academy, and that's not fair to the clients who've already paid that. So I would say if you have such a loaded question like that, then I would start looking at a business program to start investing in so you can find out what the answer to that question is, because I can't tell you that because it could be a variety of things. I don't know your business, so you never know. So that's my biggest suggestion with that. Michelle, when I want to say 100Ks in sales, you're supposed to live as if it already happened. Okay. And I want a big ticket item. How do you truly embody the mindset that is already there? Okay. This is a great question, Michelle. So when I talk about all of the time stepping into the next higher level version of yourself, there are a few different things. To step into the next level version of yourself is to think about what that person embodies, who that person is, how does she feel, what does she do with her life, what do you need to become in order to call in that next level of income? And so if you're not a 6-figure earner and you're thinking of a 6-figure earner, what does the 6-figure version of yourself look like? What are the programs she's running? What does her team look like? How does she feel? What does she do? All of those things. And then the best time to actually use the next level version of yourself is when you're hitting crisis, when you're hitting the wall, when you're just having a bad day. It's about channeling, that was the word. It's about channeling that next level version of yourself in your current situation. So for example, if I had someone who had to pull out of something, say it was a high ticket item. Say someone had to pull out of the fiercest fuck experience or something. That used to really get underneath my skin. It used to really upset me. But now, if that happens, it doesn't bother me as much. Why? Because I always know the 7-figure version of me knows that money is around the corner, knows that when one person exits my sales funnel, another person jumps in to take their place and pays more. The 7-figure version of me doesn't worry about the small things because as a business owner, people are going to miss your payment plans. People are going to jump in and out of your programs. People are going to cancel. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And the 7-figure version of myself knows that and is 100% okay with that. So like I had a client today message me and she was talking about jumping in the mastermind, but she decided to go with another business coach. And I was okay with that. I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad. I didn't say, oh my God, that's so fucked up. No, I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. She is entitled to make her own decision, and I am happy for her to be exploring and testing out other coaches. She invested in a high ticket item. That was the high ticket item, and good for her. Why should that upset me? Just because one client leaves does not mean that there aren't 6 other clients looking to take that person's spot. And so it's about not getting caught up in the little things in life. So if you're facing fear and you are like, I'm scared to do this big thing, whatever this big thing is, I'm scared to go live. I'm scared to post the scary post. I'm afraid to invest in the program. I'm afraid. Sit and ask yourself, okay, if I had $100,000 in the bank right now, how would I act towards this situation? So if it's something like if you have $100,000 in the bank and you want to talk about a controversial topic on live video, why wouldn't you do it? You have $100,000 in the bank. The money's already there. It already exists. So what's the point of hiding who you are or censoring yourself because you know people love you because the money's already there? It's the mindset shift you have to make in order to do it. Same thing with if there's a polarity message that you're like really scared of writing, like Aaliyah posted the other day and she was like, I'm really scared to write this. This is freaking me out. But then she should ask herself, okay, what would the 6-figure version of me do? Okay, she would post that post because she knows that this post is going to call in new clients. So if it's someone like I invested in a mastermind for next year as well. And so it was a huge amount of money. The most I've ever spent on anything ever. Actually, more money than I've spent, I think, this year combined. And so I asked myself when I received the payment link and the information, I asked myself, what would the 7-figure version of me do? Well, the 7-figure version of me knows that I'm going to cover this money and I'm going to make 6 times it because I'm investing in myself. The 7-figure version of me never hesitates at a moment to invest in myself and my business because the 7-figure version of me always knows the more money I spend on my business and myself, the more money I will make in my business. So it's like kind of channeling that person when you're stuck in these little hard decisions, when you're stuck in the obstacles. It's about rising above, channeling that person, becoming that person before the money ever exists. Because when you embody her, when you become her, everything starts to follow. Everything starts to follow. I used to get so worked up over people like declining payment plans. It would ruin my day. And now if someone's payment declines, I'm like, that's okay. If you don't think that fucking Verizon Wireless has people who are like payment declining on their bills every month, you're crazy. If you don't think that people are missing their iPhone payments every time the month, you're crazy. The bigger you get, this is going to happen. So why allow it to affect your mood? Why allow it to affect your state of being? It's going to fucking happen. There's no way around it, especially if you offer payment plans. So it's about when that decline payment comes up, being like, okay, reaching out to that person, emotionally detaching yourself from it. That's what the 7-figure version of me had to do. That's what I had to do to get to even the second level of a 6-figure version of myself, was I had to let go of like emotionally holding on to a lot of stuff I didn't need to. I had to separate myself emotionally from a lot of stuff, especially sales. And so when you're starting to go through these things, Michelle, this is the time that you really embody that person. So if it's something that scares the shit out of you, ask yourself, what would the next higher level version of myself do? And Michelle, you did it. You sat there and you said, okay, you just posted such a raw, real, and emotional post. That was the higher level version of you. You just stepped right into her and you didn't even realize it. That's what it's about. It's about posting the stuff that scares you. It's about talking about the things on live video that make you want to throw up. It's about going on live video when you want to throw up. It's about making an investment in yourself and your business, even though it scares the shit out of you. If you have the money, do it. Like, that's how I always see it. It's totally different if you can't afford it. And I'm not saying this so anybody who couldn't afford a big ticket item, like 100% understand that. But if you can afford it If you can afford it and you're still not doing it because of fear, that's completely different than you just can't afford it, right? So if like someone says to me, hey man, I really want to be in your program, but I literally will not be able to pay my mortgage, I would be like, absolutely not. Like, sorry, I love you. I'd love for you to be in my program, but if you have to choose between making payments to me and making payments to your mortgage, no. I don't want anybody coming into something that's a high level ticket item being that stressed out about money, because then all of their focus is on money. All of the pressure they will put on themselves will be the money focus. I don't want that. I don't want anyone to ever have to choose whether to pay me or to pay their mortgage. But if someone says, well, I can afford it, I'm just scared, that's a whole other thing. So then that's when, and as a coach, if you get someone in this who's like in the DMs and they're like, yeah, I can definitely afford this, I'm just scared, then you have to dive into that. And you have to figure out what's so scary. Are you afraid you're going to fail? Are you afraid you're going to succeed? Because there are so many people who are like, I'm afraid of failure. What they're really afraid of is success, because with success comes a lot of responsibility, and responsibility sometimes scares people. Sometimes they're afraid that people won't understand their decision. Sometimes that they're afraid because they've invested in masterminds and one-on-one coaching and high-level group coaching programs before, and nothing ever came of it. Doesn't mean that every single program that you participate in is going to be the same. So this is how you get it. Like, this is how you channel that next level version of you. And it's so important that when you go through these crossroads, because it's exactly when you need it. It's when you go through these crossroads at life, you stop and you just ask yourself that, like, what would the next level version of myself do? And then when I invested in my mastermind, I said the same thing. I was like, I'm going to fucking invest because I know I'm going to make this money back. I know. And I did within almost a week. So it's like, make sure that you're channeling this person when you need her the most is in your obstacles. A lot of people will channel them to show up on live videos. They'll be like, well, I'm going to show up like there's 1,000 people. Or like, I always make the joke, like if you were a 6-figure earner, and Lauren Liz Love actually says this all the time, and you're walking around with holes in your underwear, like, come on, go buy some new underwear. The 6-figure version of yourself would not have saggy ass nasty underwear on. Like, she would have underwear that would fit and didn't look like Swiss cheese. So like, these are the types of things about embodying this person, but it's really about the decisions that you make as this person, how you allow things to affect you as this person. So if you have haters and trolls, ask yourself, if I had $100,000 in the bank right now, would their opinion even matter to me? Because it wouldn't. The only reason it matters to you now is because you don't have that money in your bank. Because I can tell you, with having money in my bank, no one's fucking opinion matters. If someone comes up and shit talks me and trash talks me, I'm all right with it. Because I have money in the bank, I know that there are people out there that love me. So it's the same mentality before money ever fucking hits the bank. It's showing up and dealing with people who don't like what you have to say, don't like what your branding is, don't like your message. It's dealing with them. It could be family members. It could be significant others. It's how you handle them by becoming this next level version of yourself. Okay, Monica, money objections. Do you work around them on message, or do you ask to hop on a call? Most of my leads come on DM and Facebook messages. I do not hop on a call unless there is an exchange of money. So if someone has money objections, I am not going to jump on a call with them, because in my opinion, so 3 things come with money objections. There's only 3 reasons you're getting them. They don't have faith in you. They don't have faith in your program. They don't have faith within themselves. 95% of the time, it's the third one. Because if they've reached out to you, they obviously have faith in you. If they're talking about how interested they are in your program, they're obviously interested in your program. So it comes down to the fact that it's 95% of the time, the fact that they don't believe in themselves. And it's up to you. I do not jump on calls when people do that. I don't jump on calls. I will jump on calls if someone's like, for example, my mastermind, like the women who put deposits down, I'll jump on a call with them because there's an exchange of money and they're investing in me and I'm investing in them. So I feel that's like an energetic vibe right there. But if someone's going to handle me money objections, I typically ask them the questions, like kind of like I did before. Is it that they really can't afford it? Or is it that they've failed in the past? Is it they're afraid of success? Is it that this is the first program they've ever invested in? But I do it all in the DMs. I do not jump on calls. Let's reframe this, okay? So The $15,000 that never helped, was that you or was that them? So if it was a bad bad high ticket level experience, maybe like, I know that you and I had spoken, like they tried to change your branding. They completely tried to change you. That's one thing. And that was out of your control. You could have, if you should have spoken up, if you didn't speak up, like I get it. I don't even know if you could really get money back, but that was out of your control, how they treated you. What was in your control was how you reacted to it. And if you still implemented what they were teaching you to do. And if you didn't, then it was a loss all the way around. But are you a different person today than you were back then when you signed up with that $15,000 item? Are you the same person? Probably not. Do you value your money more now than you probably did back then because you lost that money? Probably, yeah. Did you learn a huge lesson from losing $15,000 till now? Yeah. Are you showing up differently now than you ever have in any group coaching programs that you've taken? Probably. I know you've taken like two of mine, 3 of mine, and you show up in every single one of them. You're one of the people who comments the most, engages the most, participates in the most. So you're probably a completely different person than you were back then. So why are you holding yourself to that standard? That's like me saying, well, I used to fail at everything last year, so why even try anymore? I'm a completely different person this year than I was last year. See, I'm a totally different person. You're not the same person, so you can't compare. It's not apples to apples. It's like apples to bananas. Like, it doesn't make sense to compare that person you were then and your experiences you had then to the person you are now, your knowledge, your abilities, your confidence, your self-worth now. It doesn't correlate. So why are you allowing yourself to do that? Are you using it as a safety net? Are you using it as a crutch or an excuse? Ask yourself these questions. These are the hard questions that you kind of got to get like in the nitty gritty. This is the inner work, the shadow work. It sucks dick. Like no one tells you. It's fucking terrible. But these questions, when you ask yourself these questions and you have pretty much a mental breakdown, because they will cause you to hysterically cry. They will cause you to think you're losing your mind. About 4 or 5 days later, when the veil gets lifted, all you'll have is clarity, focus, and just a breakthrough. Like you will be a different person at the other end of it, but it requires you having to dig into it, not trying to force it away and pass over it. I have a Facebook group with 11K members. Okay, so Anna, you want to know whether or not to keep the group or start over? Keep the group. I don't think you should just start over. 11,000 people. Keep the group. I would sit here and say, I would like kind of tell the group the way that it's moving. And I would tell them the shift that you've had, because I know we've been working in Badass Bitch Academy with your niche and everything. So if you're shifting, tell the group of 11,000 followers how you're shifting, what your messaging is going to be, and that's the direction you're that you are doing moving forward. Tell them that it's okay if they don't want to be a part of the group anymore, but things are going to change because you are feeling pulled to explore a different area. And typically when you get up and you tell people this and you give them a heads up that it's happening, it's not like all of a sudden it just like happens and no one gets a heads up. If you sit here and you say, hey guys, listen, I love this group. It's 11,000 members strong. I created this group a few years ago when this was my idea for it, but I've decided I want to move in a different direction. I'd love if you guys would stay in this group, but this is what we're going to focus on moving forward and see what happens. If a shit ton of people stay in the group, perfect. If a shit ton of people leave, that's okay. You could also, I think you said you wanted to, hold on. I would not start over. Why start over? You have 11,000 people in your group. I would say, announce the change and let them decide on their own. And if they bounce off, they bounce off, but you have no idea. If you don't announce the change and you just like start a whole new group from scratch, you have no idea how many people in that 11,000 person group may actually already may have been following you and like, oh, this is a new path. I want in. And if you don't give them the benefit of the doubt, how are you ever going to know? Because what will probably happen is you'll probably open a second closed Facebook group. It'll be geared to different people, but the people in your 11,000 group will probably end up joining your new close Facebook group anyway. So don't start from scratch if you've already built pretty much like this huge following. Just let them know what's happening, let them know what's going on, and then make the shifts and the adjustments slowly. You don't want to do something like this overnight. You don't want to be like, boom, this is happening all at once. There are people who love change and there are people who don't like change. So if you're going to shift things, give your people advance notice when you're going to shift them. Like, for example, 2019, I did all my programs live. 2020, things are shifting. We're doing the subscription. I'm not doing one-on-one. I'm only doing the mastermind. And there's only 2 courses that are going to be run next year 100% live. So if I hit this group with all of that in one day, everyone would have gotten so overwhelmed. People would have dropped out. People would have been like, I don't like the shift. Oh my God, she's not doing courses live. People would have freaked out. But if you implement it slowly over time, it ends up being a lot better of experience for you and your people in your group because they deserve time to adjust. So make sure that you announce it and then let them know like, hey, this shift, the new branding will start happening over the next week. So keep an eye out for it. And you'll probably drum up some excitement because like the people who do love change, they get really amped up over that shit. I love change. Let's see here. Sure. Okay. Cynthia, best content creation tools that you use. Which platform do you recommend for someone starting out? Facebook. I don't recommend. Okay. Let me preface this. So it says Carta, that might be Kajabi, Squarespace, etc. Are you making money in your business? If you're not making money in your business, you don't need any of them. You can do a lot of shit in Facebook and Facebook is free. You can run monthly subscriptions in Facebook by building out the units. You can run courses in Facebook by building out the units. You can run accountability groups in Facebook by building out the units. Why spend the money that you don't have right now? So what happens is when we move, new coaches come into the entrepreneur space, they're like, I need everything that everyone else has right now. And so you end up going in the whole 5Gs because you think you need the website, you think you need Kajabi, you think you need Squarespace. You don't need any of that shit right now. You need a not Google Docs. You need an Excel sheet for people's emails for when they join your group so that you always have their emails on file. Use Facebook as much as possible use Facebook groups as much as possible to run your memberships, to run your subscriptions, to run all of the things. You don't need Kajabi right now. Kajabi is almost $130 a month and I can afford it. Like I've built this business and I had it last year and I was paying for it for an entire year and not making $1 from it. You don't need all of the things. First off, if you don't know what you're selling, you definitely don't need all the things. You need to figure out what you're selling and your offers and your services. But I would not invest in those things until you have money coming in the bank because they are higher ticket things. They're pretty pricey. As far as when you are ready to invest in them, when you do have money in the bank, I love Kajabi. I just do. I love Kajabi. It offers everything that you need in one place, which is huge. So you don't need to go on lead pages. You don't need MailChimp. You don't need like Squarespace. You don't need Teachable. Everything's underneath one roof. And I am a person who thoroughly enjoys that. Like I don't like having to go in 18 different spaces for what the one thing I need is. So I would say Kajabi, but only if you can afford it. If it's going to put you, if your monthly subscription to Kajabi costs more than you are making in your business, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. So I would say like, make sure that like you have money. If not, then open it in a closed Facebook group. Get a PayPal business account because you can make reoccurring payment links. All you do is you go to the all tools and then it says integrate PayPal and there's a thing called PayPal buttons. That is like a reoccurring subscription. So you fill out the information, click create button, go to the link that says email, and then you send it to people. So if someone reaches out to you and says like, hey, Justine, I'm interested in your program, Justine can send the payment link via PayPal and then drop them into the closed Facebook group. It's 100% free for you. All of it. It's all free. And then you turn 100% profit. Do that for like 2 courses. Get enough profit to where you're like enough money to where you're turning a profit and then invest in something like Kajabi. You don't need all of the things right now. Just like I see a lot of new coaches jumping into fucking graphic designers, a bunch of coaches reaching out to Tara and saying, hey, Tara, I want the package that Amanda does. The package I do is very expensive. And yet people keep reaching out to all of these other people saying, I need this, I need this, I need this. You don't need shit if you're starting out. You need yourself. You need a close Facebook group. You need a close Facebook group to run your programs. You need a PayPal business account, and you need clients. That's your number one goal. Not getting a website, not starting your sales pages, not opening an account with Kajabi, not email marketing. It's getting clients so you can make some money. So stop trying to get all of the things. Like, you don't need a graphic designer right now. You don't. No one gives a fuck. Melanie and Layer she opened a program, her brand new program, Cash. It didn't have a Facebook cover for like a week into the program. Do you think anybody said anything about it? No. It's Melanie and fucking Lair. No one gives a shit about the fucking Facebook group thing. They care that she's there, and they care about the information she's giving. When I first started coaching, my graphics were terrible. No one cared. No one messaged me and said, Amanda, I'm really upset about that graphic. No one gave a shit. They came to learn. The material was more important than the graphics. So when you're starting out, just stop. Stop thinking you need all the things, because you don't need all the things. You want to know why I was so successful at the beginning? Because I didn't feel I needed all the things, and so I functioned without all the things. And then once I made money, I got all of the things. But don't put the cart before the horse and put yourself in such debt that you can never get out of it. Because there's so many coaches who do that, and it takes them so long to pull themselves out of it. Janelle, thoughts on Facebook groups? On Facebook group. Obviously, it's your jam. I primarily get clients through a Facebook group as well. It's sitting at about 1,200 members. That's amazing. Congratulations. About a year ago, Facebook changed something with Facebook groups, and my engagement went way down. So dumb. I know. Okay, I got discouraged and eventually stopped showing up. I still post there 3 to 4 times a week or more, but engagement still sucks. My question is, would it be... Everyone wants to start a new group. No, stop starting new groups. I would revive the old one. The old one doesn't suck because of them. It sucks because of you. And I mean that in the nicest fucking way possible. Like, that's harsh, but I mean it in the nice way. They didn't stop engaging. It was Facebook. And then you stopped showing up because of it. Had nothing to do with your group. You let it fall. So the only way for your group to get back into it is if you revive it. If you jump on and you say to someone, listen, I fucked up. I got discouraged. I got angry. Facebook algorithm sucks. And so I stopped showing up. And I'm the one to blame, and I really want to revive this group. And then you're going to have to work to get their trust back. Happens all of the time. Everyone wants to start with scratch, and it's so much easier just to admit you fucked up and try to revive the group that you have. And like I said, you can't really be like, well, and not saying that you are, you can't be like, well, engagement sucks. Well, of course it sucks. You bailed on them. You bailed on them when Facebook was, like, you bailed on them when it wasn't even their fault. So then when you bail on a group, they're kind of like, well, then what's the point of showing up here? And then all of a sudden you kind of like half-ass, or you kind of post in there, and then people are like, well, I'm not going to pay attention to her because she stopped showing up for the longest time. She wasn't here when I needed her. And so to be able to admit that you ghosted them, that you dropped the ball, is so powerful, and not a lot of people can do that. So it earns mad respect with people. Yeah, I use the word mad. It earns mad respect with people because they appreciate people who admit their fuck ups and admit that it was something that's wrong. I jump on my videos in this group and no one jumps on. And people are like, I didn't get the invite. I didn't get the tag. Like, I didn't even notice you were on. It had nothing to do with them. It was Facebook. So you can't get hurt that you're getting no engagement when it has nothing. It's not them. They're trying. It's not like they're purposely ignoring you. So make sure that, like, stop like trying to reinvent the wheel and just own the fact that you fucked the wheel up. And now you have to repair it and you have to build that trust back. And that's harsh. It's a little harsh, but it's the truth. We always want to start over. Why start over? It will be harder to start over than just to admit that we were wrong. But that's what the problem is. People can't admit when they're wrong. It hurts them. It's vulnerable. It's raw. It's real. It's transparent. And people don't like that. So they're like, well, rather than admitting that I was wrong and that I ghosted and that I messed up, I'm just going to start with a brand new niche, a brand new brand, a brand new this, a brand new that. And then they're like literally in the hamster wheel of starting over. because they get to a point where they're like, I'm going to do everything new and then the interest is going to tank and then I'm going to be like new brand new niche, everything over and over and over again. Just own that you ghosted them. I'm sure they will respect you. I'm sure they will appreciate you. I am sure they will say, this is amazing. Thank you for saying that. You guys, like, you're your own worst critic, which means you're going to be more harsh about yourself than most people are. I remember one time I was in From Fear to Fierce the first round, and I taught a module on self-worth, and I got off of it, and I fucking hated it. I felt like it was such shit. I was really disconnected. We did it on a Zoom call. It was my first Zoom call ever. It super fucked with me. And so the next day, I redid the whole thing. I jumped back on and said, I don't like how I taught that. I don't like how I feel about that. And so I want to reteach it. And people jumped on and they were like, I loved yesterday's training. What are you talking about? Yesterday's training was great. I had such big breakthroughs. What are you talking about? I got into my own head. I created the story. I was like, everyone hated it, but it was really only me. And it was the energy I was feeling. It was no one else. So getting up and owning it, people were like, oh, you did great. We loved it, but thank you so much for this. This is great as well. Like, it's the power of just standing in your truth and the power of just being honest and real with people. Tayshawn, yes, where to network, and a lot of people that need or want my help can't afford it too because of financial reasons. That's not necessarily true. That's a story you're telling yourself. So your target audience, where they hang out on your wall. They hang out on your personal wall. They check you out. If you can't find your target audience, it's typically because your ideal, like you don't know who your ideal client avatar is and your messaging isn't there. Maybe you do know who your ideal client avatar is, but you cannot then turn around and somehow communicate that in your posts and your messaging. It's not like everyone, like Badass Business Babes is full of like 30,000 women. I could go in there and I can network, but not 30,000 of those women are my ideal client avatar. Maybe less than 10 are. I may not even have a single ideal client avatar in there. So it's not up to me jumping into other groups. It's up to me showing up in my personal space. So like Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media stuff you use, my group showing up personally there rather than trying to pick from other groups, because you may not have ideal clients in any group. I belonged to Spiritual Boss Babes for about 3 months and I pulled out of that because I was like, none of these women are my ideal clients. Like, I am not a big spiritual person. I'm a little bit, but I'm not like really into it. And so some of those women were like, they wanted a spiritual business coach, and that's not me. And so I pulled out of that group and I focused solely on my personal wall, Instagram, and my videos and my messaging. And I pulled people in through me rather than pulling people in through other networking places. If I happen to be in one of these groups and someone has a question, like, I don't know, like a lot of them is like, hey, do you like Kajabi? But like something like, hey, I'm starting my business. What's the first thing I should do? I'll comment on their thing. And then if they want to friend request me, if they want to come check out my stuff, they do. I don't like message them. I don't reach out that way. I bring them to me. And so Tayshawn is part of like, if you're going to sit here and say, oh, where is it? I can't afford it too, because if financial reasons based on toxic relationships, but you were in a toxic relationship and you invested in yourself. So you are a clear contradiction of what you're saying people can and cannot do. Did you not? And how do you know that they don't have any money? Just because the relationship is toxic doesn't mean that they're both broke. Doesn't mean that someone's willing to invest. And maybe you could look at it as you are trying to get someone who is maybe 6 months out of a toxic relationship, who's like on their feet, who has a steady income, and who wants to start dating again, but is so scared of what happened in the past that they can't even fathom starting to date again. So like when we say things like, people can't afford it. Like, oh, I want to teach this, but they can't afford it because of financial reasons, but you've experienced it and you've turned around and invested in yourself. You're a walking contradiction to everything you're telling yourself. So like, say that to yourself. Like, Why can't they afford it? Who says they can't afford it? You. And if you go into selling with that mentality of, I'm going to give my services and people aren't going to afford it. No, they're not, because you aren't going to be able to sell it the way you need to sell it in order for people to be like, I need that right fucking now. And then number two, Tayshaun, you've already had people who've bought into your program. So once again, you're contradicting what you're saying right here. That's a lot of finger jumping. But just think about that, guys. And the words we use are so important. And I go into this in the new Be a Boss Bitch, but like the language you use is destroying you sometimes. So when you say things like that, like, oh, well, no one's going to be able to afford my services. Of course they're not, because you're going around telling everyone you're unaffordable unaffordable. I don't walk around and say I'm expensive. I'm like, I'm worth every motherfucking penny. And so people are willing to pay that because of the confidence that comes behind it. But if you're going to sit here and say, like, I'm getting people who have a lot of money objections. What money objections are you doing in everyday life that are calling in those people? You are a mirror reflection of what you are calling in. So if you have someone, I think Justine actually said it, she's like, I'm getting frustrated with getting a lot of money objections. How is your relationship with money right now, Justine? Are you stressed out about money? Are you freaking out about paying bills? Are you thinking to yourself, I don't have enough money? I don't have enough money? I don't have enough money? Because if you are, and you're wondering why you're getting so many money objections, it's not a coincidence. It's because that's the energy you're putting out every single time. Every single time. So make sure that you are really having conversations with yourself, and the language you're using is so important. Don't say I don't have money. I have abundance. Money is around the corner. Every dollar I spend on my business and myself, I make back times 10. This is the language that gets here, and your subconscious. I always think my subconscious is in my stomach. It's not, it's in my brain, but your subconscious, like my subconscious. Maybe because that's where I feel like my soul is located. It's like right here. But just because, like, lost my train of thought. Where was I? But yeah. Oh, the money objections. So if you're constantly thinking, I don't have enough money, and you're constantly stressed out about money, you are going to call in every motherfucker that's like that. Every single person's going to give you money objections. It's the energy you put out there is the energy you bring. I say this with coaches all the time when they're like, well, I send the payment link out with people and it sits in their inbox for days, and I don't know if they're going to click it, and I stress out. Okay, well, do you do that? Do you reach out to coaches and say, I want to sign up with your program, and then let the link sit in your inbox before paying it? Let the link sit in your inbox days before paying it? You're calling in those people. I literally pay every single fucking invoice I get from my coach, from my graphic designer, from my podcasting person. I pay it the second that shit hits my account. Why? Because that's the energy I want. I want to call in people who are like, send me the payment link and pay right now. But in order to bring that in, I have to become that version myself. Next level version. So if you're sitting here and you're getting a lot of money objections and you're getting, oh, well, I'm too expensive and people can't afford me. Of course they're not, because you don't even believe you're affordable. But I believe I'm worth every penny. I believe I'm affordable. And so that energy comes out and I'm like, bring it on. I could sell until like I literally like cannot breathe anymore. Like I'm okay with that, but that's the energy I give out. So if you're saying these things over and over and over and over again, you are doing so much harm to you and your business. Language is so important. Every time you catch yourself saying or thinking something like that, write it down for a day and just as the day's over, like this is a great journaling exercise. Like after the day is over, look down and see how terrible you speak to yourself. See all of the negatives that you were saying, and every single one of those negatives is hindering you from reaching the next level in your life and your business. It is an eye-awakening experience. We did something similar in the mastermind where it was about language that we use, and it physically brought me to tears. Like I was hysterical after I saw what I was saying. And I didn't even realize it, but someone else was writing it as I said it. Talk about mind blowing. So write down, take a day and journal down. Every time you sit here and say, you look at your bank account and you're like, fuck, I'm so broke. Write it down. Every time someone gives you a money objection, or you sit there and you're like, well, I can't afford it. It's too expensive. Write it down. Use it and see after the end of the day how your language is literally like just burying you into the ground. And then the next day, Try not to say a single thing on the list before, and be really cognizant and aware of your language and see the difference just between 2 days. It'll blow your fucking mind. Blow your fucking mind. Tayshawn, yes, I'm confused sometimes about being grateful for what you have versus starting imagining you have more abundance. This gets me. You can be grateful for what you have and still want more abundance. I am so fucking grateful for what I have. Every single thing I am grateful for this week. Like I literally was, it's probably a mixture of PMS as well, but I was sitting at the kitchen table yesterday looking at the pictures from our hike and I just started crying because a year ago this couldn't happen. So I am so unbelievably grateful for every single client, every single dollar, every single experience, vacation, every single moment I get to work from home. I am so grateful for it. But there's nothing wrong with wanting more. I am an abundant person. I have abundance, but there's always room for more abundance. There's always room for more success. There's always room for more love, more joy, more happiness. There's always room. You have an infinite amount of space. You are an infinite amount of space. So there's nothing wrong with being grateful for what you have, but also for calling in more. And you call in more by saying, I am so fucking grateful for what I have. And I would like more. Universe, show me how to do it. Guide me how to do it. That's why I do things like I showed you guys yesterday. Blew my fucking mind. When I announced the mastermind, I wrote down 12 people that I thought would be a great fit for the mastermind. I didn't know if they would be able to do it. I had no fucking idea. I wrote with 12 people that I had recently worked with that I thought they'd be a great fit. 4 people out of 12 have signed up. How fucking insane is that? How insane is that? And that's because I was very abundant. I had great clients and I wanted these people. I wanted to call in these people. And so I set a clear intention with the universe because you have to be clear with your intentions. You can't just say, I want $100,000. You say something like, I want $100,000 in my coaching business. You can't sit here and say, the more specific you are, the better. You could sit here and that's why I'm always like, I want to sign 10 people up this month. I want 2 one-on-one clients. I want to sign, by the end of the month, I want to sell all of the mastermind seats. So that's 7 seats and then 3 other spots for the people who can't attend the retreat. So that's 10 spots. I want to sell 10 spots by the end of the month. Totally doable. But I have to set that intention and be super specific with it. I want to sell the 10 spots in my mastermind this month. And then you let the universe know and she delivers. It's so important. Do stuff like that to kind of get yourself excited. And don't ever feel guilty for wanting more. Of course you're grateful for your life. You have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful life, but that doesn't mean that I don't want more. Of course I want more abundance. I want to take my nieces and nephews to Disney. I want to buy my brother a house. I want to get us our house is tiny. It's not tiny, but it's small. We want to move in a few years and we want to build a huge house. I want a bathtub that's so deep that I could literally go swimming in it. Because my bathtub is so tiny that barely comes up to here. I'm tits out the entire time. And it's what's the point of a bath when all it is tits. And then my dog sits there and she stares at me and she sees me topless and it's a really awkward situation. So I always want more abundance and there's nothing wrong with that. It's more about saying you want more without celebrating everything you already have. So if you're sitting here and you're calling out for more and you're like, I want more, but I'm not going to say thank you for the $10 I just earned, that's completely different. It's about being grateful for everything you have, but always being open and willing to receive more. And when I mean grateful, we talk about this in From Fear to Fierce, celebrate the fuck out of shit. Even if it's expected, you got to celebrate it to show the world and to show the universe that you are so, so grateful for it. Because when you are grateful, she in turn gives you more. Sarah, I have invested a lot of money in myself this past year, and it might not translate into money in the bank yet exactly, but it's completely I just spit everywhere. It has completely changed me and leveled up so much. I spent, $6,000. I spent $6,000 in 2018 in personal development stuff. And then Melanie Ann Layers, that was $8,888 in January. So I spent almost 15 grand before I ever saw anything happen in the bank. It's not about timing. When you're investing in yourself, you'll always get an ROI. You just don't know when. It may be super quickly. It may take a little bit of time, but if This is the difference. You'll always get an ROI if you continue to grow. And by continue to grow, I don't mean like you have to constantly invest in programs. Like that's great, but you don't have to constantly do that. But you always have to be trying to find what it is. So if it's your business, if you are constantly trying to you're trying different things, they're not working, but you keep trying, it's resilience. You're eventually going to get an ROI. It's the people who go into this loop of, okay, I'm going to sign up for all of the programs. I'm going to do all of the programs and then I'm not going to do shit. Or I'm going to get super amped up and then all of a sudden I'm going to join this next, I'm going to launch this thing and then no one buys and then I'm done. That's the difference. Always, no matter what, if you invest in yourself, you will receive an ROI. How long it takes is up to you, your determination, and your resilience. So that's a great point, Sarah. How do I actually do it? Says, how do I actually find clients that can afford my services as a mental health coach? Same thing I said before. If you are someone who is what's the word I'm looking for? Managing your mental health and you can afford to participate and you can afford to invest in yourself, then there are other people out there who can do the exact same thing. But if you are saying they can't afford it, of course they're not going to afford it. It's a mental shift. And if you are someone who is balancing and managing your mental health, but you can't afford, you're telling yourself you can't afford to invest in yourself in other programs, then it's a mirror image. You're going to call in those people. So first off, if you are saying you can't afford things, do it. I would sit there, I'd watch your language, and I would say I can afford this. I would invest in something, even if it's something smaller, like a small ticket course, something like that to prove to the universe that you are doing exactly what you want to do. And I always say people who offer one-on-one coaching, and I say this to them, if you offer one-on-one coaching, but you don't have a one-on-one coach yourself, you can't sell one-on-one coaching because you don't see the investment. You don't see the value in the investment because you're not doing it yourself. And so when I was doing coaching month by month, and then I signed up with Jen Casey. She did a 4-month package for 15 G's. I loved the 4-month package. I turned around and was like, all right, well, I just signed up for this. I invested in this. I'm now going to do something similar. It was a little lower price. It was $11,777 and got 3 people who bought it because it was just I never said there are people who couldn't afford this. I'm there are people who are open and willing to receive this. There are people out there that want this. Is there a way to do auto withdrawal with pay? Yes, Justine. So you go to, I said this at the beginning of the video, you go to PayPal, you go on the business page. At the top, there will say tools. You hit tools. You click down to all tools, ALL tools. My New York accent sometimes fucks that word up. All tools. Then a little sidebar will come up. You want to hit integrate PayPal. You want to create a PayPal button. When you create the button, you will put the information in, like the payment plan. You can do, if it's a single payment, it's the buy now button. Forgot that part. If it's a reoccurring subscription, it's a reoccurring payment. It's a subscription button. So you take the subscription button, you fill in the information, you hit create button. It'll bring you to the next page. It'll give you an HTML code. That's if you wanted to embed the button into your website, you don't want to do that. You want the email code. The email, it will just, when you hit the word email, it'll bring up a link. Copy, paste that link, boom. The second someone signs up, it's automatic withdrawal. You don't want to invoice people every month. That shit's annoying. Let's see, I needed to know that instead of resending payment every month. Yeah. Christina, one of my previous mentors has a group of 120. She said, I talked to myself in that group for months until people figured out I wasn't going anywhere and started talking back. Exactly. People see this group and they're always like, oh my God, the engagement in this group is amazing. How did you do this? I showed the fuck up, even if no one was online video. The first couple of free coaching Fridays, no one was on. No one was on. I'd get a couple questions. I'll remember the first question I ever got for a free coaching Friday was, how do I give up diet soda? That was a question. And I just kept showing up and then people were like, this bitch isn't going anywhere. Consistency will build your group. And if you don't have consistency, it's the same thing with your business. And this drives me crazy when people are always like, I don't understand why my business isn't going anywhere. Well, when's the last time you went live? 4 months ago. When's the last time you talked to your closed Facebook group? About 3 months ago. But I'm not making sales. I don't understand why. Do you expect people to trust you with their money if they can't even trust you to show up? If you're not showing up and you're not making sales, that's it right there. That's the secret sauce. Consistency is key, and I did a live about this the other day. Consistency, you don't have to be so fucking extreme with consistency. If I see another person say they're doing a 365-day live challenge, I'm literally going to just throw myself into a wall, because you don't have to do it. If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't feel good, why the fuck are you doing it? Because Melanie and Layer did it, because this person did it, because I've done it. Fuck that shit. I have time to do it. I don't have kids. I have Adam and 4 dogs and 2 cats. Like, I work from home. I have the ability to do it, so I do it. But I have never signed up for a 365. I signed up for 1 month at a time. And so don't think, oh my God, I have to be so consistent or I can't show up at all. You need the balance. The balance is where the money comes in. So so many people burn out because they try to be so consistent at the beginning that they're like, they get 3 weeks into going live and they're like, I'm done for the rest of the year. And they ghost their group and they wonder what's going on. Stop going to the extreme. Pick a schedule that works for you, that's obtainable for you, and keep it consistent. If it's Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If it's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sunday evening when your kids are asleep, do it. Just fucking do it. Don't go so extreme because everyone else is. And I will tell you right now, people who are doing the 365-day challenge, actually pay attention. See how many of them actually finish. Because the ones that I follow, they never finish. And it's because they try to go so extreme with it. Don't need to be extreme, just be you. Sure. Yes, I sometimes feel guilty, but I want the money to help others. It doesn't even matter if you want the money for yourself. Why do you feel guilty? Don't feel guilty. You should never feel guilty about wanting more. Isn't that why we're on this planet, is to want and to be more? So why should we feel guilty about that? I think it really comes, what am I trying to say? Like, I feel like women hold on to that guilt so much more than a man. Like, if men don't feel guilty about wanting more, men don't feel guilty about wanting money. It's just women, we're nurturers and we feel. And so we always feel guilty for fucking everything. We feel guilty from when we stole from the grocery store when we were 5 years old. We hold on to guilt so much. So why should we feel guilty for wanting more? You should never feel guilty for wanting more. You should always want more. And sometimes it's not just money. Sometimes it's just more peace. Sometimes it's more time for yourself. Sometimes it is more money. I want more money, but it's not just because I want more money for me. I want to be able to make sure both my parents are set up in the future. Like, I'm the middle child and my sister's got 16 kids and my brother's got 16 kids. I don't have kids. So I want to make sure that both my parents are set up financially in the future, meaning God forbid anything happen to them, they get older, I can afford to take them in. I can afford to help them through their old age. I'm not going to put them in a home. Like, I want them to live with me. So I need more money in order to do that. My brother's kids, they don't have a lot. They're just they're a very poor family. And so I want to be able to have money to make sure those kids never want for anything and that they never feel poor. Because we grew up, we weren't very well off. We were very food stamps. We had food stamps and stuff as a kid, especially when my parents got divorced. And so that was kind of embarrassing as a kid, having the discount lunches and stuff like that. I don't want my nieces and nephews to go through that. So I want to make sure that I'm financially abundant to be able to take care of them until they can fly off on little birdies. I want to be able to do college funds for them because I know my brother and his wife can't afford that. So I want more abundance so I can set these kids up for life. I want more abundance so I can allow them to experience things that kids should experience without having to be well, we can't afford anything. I want to be able to take them to Disney and let them buy whatever the fuck they want and go on whatever ride they want and do whatever park they want and stay wherever they want. I want to be able to provide this for them. That's nothing wrong with that. Chrissy, same here. I spent $15,000 before you. And I don't regret it. I will still get more if I need, but I feel confident that I'm super close to rolling it in. If you feel like you are on the path, let me tell you this. Before you hit alignment, before you hit that sweet spot, you will feel it in every bone of your body. You will feel it in every bone in your body. People will be like, what are you talking about? And nothing makes me happier than when people say, I feel it coming. Like I can feel it's about to happen, because that's how I felt the second I took off this coaching business. I remember saying to Adam, even I launched Badass Bitch Academy on the 4th and like I created it on the 4th. I think I launched it on the 6th. And on the 4th, we were laying in bed before we went to bed. And I said, Adam, I don't know why, but I know this is going to launch my career. This is going to be a huge program. I know it. There was no rhyme or reason. I hadn't made $1 before then. I had never been a coach. It was a fucking business program and I had no money and I was launching a business program, but I felt it everywhere. I felt it everywhere. And so I knew it was going to happen. So when people say, I feel it coming, I can feel the change, I feel the shift, that makes me so excited, because that's how I know it's going to happen for people. It's when themselves can feel it. They can't explain it. They can just feel it. I think that's so fucking powerful. That's one of my favorite things whenever a client is like, I can feel it in my bones. I'm like, oh, that makes me so excited. I get really excited for my clients because I know how it feels. I signed up with the Alpha Femme experience and I didn't tell Adam. We were here and I said to him, I was like, oh, because he was like, he did not want me to sign up for it. He didn't want to sign up for it. He's like, it's $9,000. Like, are you really going to be able to do all of her programs with launching your own business? And you should really focus in on your business. And I invested anyway. I did it even though he told me not to. And he said, we were talking about, because I did not tell him to this day. I told him like 2 days ago. And I was like, yeah, I invested in that with Melanie's program. And he looked at me and he's like, did you really? I said, I did. And I said to him, I don't know why I did, but I just did because I felt it in every fiber of my being that I had to invest in this. And I don't know why. And I didn't know what was going to come of it. But I knew that if I invested in this, I was going to show up in a whole different way. And I did. And he's like, well, it doesn't bother me now. Like, obviously it worked. I was like, I literally had no reason to invest in that shit. I didn't. But I felt it with every fiber in my being that this was it. And like, if you believe human design, I'm like a sacral authority. I'm a generator with a sacral authority. So like when my gut and my intuition screams, hell yeah, I move. And I have like really honed in this last year to listening to my intuition and listening to my gut. And so people don't understand. People aren't supposed to. All that matters is that you are understanding. And I don't mean like, people take this wrong every time I say it. I don't mean just like go buy things without your spouse knowing and just be like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. But we weren't married at the time. We're still not married. So it's like, it was my decision. Did it pay off? Yes. Could it went sour the wrong way? Of course, but it didn't matter because I knew it was going to work. I knew it. I just knew it. And it made me feel crazy to an extent because I was like, why do I just feel it? Because I just feel it. And it's so important too, is you're going to get people around you who are going to jump on the bandwagon and people who will not. And you can't change the people who will not, just blinders. But the people who will, even Adam has gotten really good with changing his language around things. Like we used to say if a lot and we've eliminated that word. So it's not if my mastermind seed sells, it's when my mastermind seed sells, how much money are we going to put down for the deposit for my brother's house? And it's like, when we buy my brother a house, where is it going to be? What's it going to look like? How close is it going to be to the school? What's another one we do? Oh, when we pay for the wedding in full, because I'm not fucking taking loans out to pay for this fucking wedding. Like, I'm not doing it. So I'm like, when we pay for the wedding in full, like, what are we going to do next? Like, what are we going to invest in next? So it's like, when, and he has gotten 100% on that fucking boat. But when my sister, like, I can't say when, like, I even check myself. Sometimes I say if around her and I try to check myself because I feel like she doesn't get it. And so that makes me change my language. But no matter if they don't get it, the language that comes out of your mouth is most important. Still say it with you. Do it. How do you deal with disappointment and impatience in business? You know, the number one killer in your business is impatience. I'm a very impatient person except for when it comes to pastries. Like I love pastries and doing all things with pastries and baking. And that takes a lot of time and patience. But like, I am not a patient human being. But with my business, I was super patient in the beginning. You have to realize that when you're building a business, you're building this for life. The CEO of Amazon, you're right, Howie? The CEO of Amazon, I need some water. The CEO of Amazon didn't build Amazon in a fucking year. He didn't build it in a day. He didn't hit 100K in a month. It took him years to build his business. Years to build his business. Yet we got into the coaching world and we see all of these people, and you can say me included, who hit big numbers super quickly. And we start getting impatient with our business. And a client reached out to me recently, and she said that she was watching someone's live video the other day, and they said something along the lines like, they haven't made any money in 5 months, but Amanda King made 100K in 6, so I'm still trending to possibly make 100K. Why the fuck are you comparing yourself to me? Don't ever compare yourself to me. Don't ever, ever, ever compare yourself to me. Patience is required to run a business. Yes, my business took off very quickly because I had patience over the last 2 years. I grew my business because in this year, when I stepped into the coaching realm, I thought I was going to make 8 G's this year, and that it was going to take me years to grow my business. So I was patient as shit with it. When people weren't showing up, when people weren't engaging, I was patient, and I said, this is a business, it's going to take years. This is a business, it's going to take years. If you want overnight success, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. You may think it's a thing. It's not a thing. You only see the success. You don't see the failures that were years before. You only see the success. There is no such thing as an overnight success. They had failed years upon years upon years before, and they had gotten to that sweet spot, and then they had great success. There's no such thing. So stop comparing yourself to them. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Stop being impatient. When people are always like, I don't get a lot of engagement in my group. How long have you been doing your group? 2 months. 2 months. People want... Your job as a coach is to get people to literally put everything on the table, their heart, their desires, their shame, their guilt, their regret, their life on the table. And you expect them to do that within 2 months? If you met someone brand new you had never met, you just walked up to the grocery store and said, hey, Sally Sue, how are you? My name's Amanda. Would you divulge all of your life story and information in that person in the first week you knew them? First 2 weeks? First month? It's like a friendship, dude. It took years for me, years to open up to my friends the way I do. And sometimes you have that relationship with people that's instantaneous and boom, you guys just click. But growing a business takes patience. So chill the fuck out. Literally, what was it? Badass Bitch Academy. I said, what I want you guys to do is I want you to write the word impatience, make it all glittery and pretty and little fucking unicorns and shamrocks shooting out of that shit. And I want you to put it right where your computer screen is. Right where your computer screen is, like a little bit above it if you have a laptop. And every time you get frustrated, I want you to look at that word, patience. I want you to put your computer down. If you have a laptop, I want you to put the fucking screen down and I want you to look at that word for fucking a solid 5 minutes. Patience is required. If you do not have patience, if you just are in this to turn a quick profit super quickly, it isn't going to happen. The people that it happens for have patience. It takes people sometimes 3 to 4 years to build 100K businesses. It takes patience. So chill the fuck out. Give yourself some GD grace and relax. I find myself having to do this all the time because I feel like I should be further along than I am. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not at this person's number. And I'm like, I'm still in my first fucking year. Patience. You will get there. You will get there. Patience is required to get there. I do. I want you. If you're suffering from impatience, I want you to fucking glitterify that word, put it right in front of you, or put it on your screen. And every time you just need a minute, look at that word, because that will determine whether or not you're successful in business. How I feel about the mastermind, but I know it's so right, so crazy, but so right. You don't know. There's no logic. Like, I say this to people all the time. Logic is so fucking dumb. We think from here. We need to think from here. This is shit. Brittany Ritter would be like, if you're open head center, you should not be using thought and logic. Like, I am an open head center. I make my decisions based on my gut, my sacral authority, my intuition. But this logic fucking doesn't exist to me. Logically, this year should not have turned out the way it should have. Logically, I should have made $8,000 this year. Logically, I shouldn't have been able to pay off not only my 2019, but my 2018 and 17 taxes that I owed the government. Logically, I should not have money in the bank right now. Logically, I should not be able to afford this. Logically, I should not be here. Logic is horseshit. Logic is horseshit. If you think with your brain, you will go nowhere. Think with your heart, think with your center, think with your intuition, whatever you call it. Don't think from here. This ruins you. Because this, you don't need to be in here. You need to be in here. Logic does not exist. Throw logic out the fucking window. If you think logic exists, you're putting limitations on yourself and your business. Hashtag mic drop. If you think logic exists, you are putting limitations on yourself and your business. Because you could sit here and say, oh, there's no way I'm going to hit 500K in sales by the end of the year. Logically, I shouldn't be anywhere near it. I'm at almost 400K in sales and I have 2 months. Logically, that shouldn't exist. Has nothing to do with logic. Logic is bullshit. Logic is chains and limitations that we put on ourselves. So stop thinking logically and think from your heart and think from how you feel. I'm getting into it because your intuition and your gut will always fucking steer you in the right direction. Logic is what fucks it up because you feel that you need to move, you need to move right. And your logic is telling you, no, you probably shouldn't move right. It doesn't make sense, but you should probably move left. And then all of a sudden you're like, you're right, logic. That makes sense. Let's turn left, and you're nose diving off of a cliff. If you would have listened to your intuition, if you would have listened to your soul, your heart, whatever it is that you need to listen to, if you would have went right, it would have been the clearest path in the entire world, but you allowed logic to turn you the wrong direction. It's so fucking true. Anna says, I can't wait to arts and crafts the word patience on pretty paper tonight. I'm fucking serious, guys. I'm a visual person. And I'm apparently a person who spits a lot. I'm a very visual person. And so I have to put things in front of me in order to really anchor into them. And I believe that that's why I've had such success, is because my shit is in front of my eyes all the time. My vision board is in front of my face every single day. My 7-figure earner board, what she looks like, is in my office every single morning. My intentions are written on a piece of paper in my office. Everything is right in front of me. And your subconscious clicks in when you do that. Logic drives me batty. You're allowing it to drive you batty. You allow yourself to feel the way you want to feel. You are putting the emotions behind it. So if someone, it's always like, if someone reaches out to you and they say something like, what you're saying is so dumb, or what was it? There was one the other day that someone said Badass Bitch Academy. Someone had reached out to her and said that her live videos were good and they had made her husband laugh. And she instantly took it as like a negative. Granted, the husband apparently is a douchebag, so he's probably laughing. But why is laughter a bad thing? It couldn't. You could be making him laugh in the best way possible. You could be bringing joy and happiness and soul into his life, but you hear the word, you're making him laugh, and you attach that emotion to it. And you feel, oh my God, no one's taking me seriously. I'm a big fucking joke. Everyone's laughing and making fun of me. That's not necessarily true. You create that imagery. You create the emotion. You attach that emotional significance to that one thing. So don't do that to yourself anymore. Let that go. Emotionally detach yourself. Do not create this story in your head. You'll drive yourself fucking crazy. All right, Dua, what would you say to a person who wants everything to be perfect in business and have control over everything? Perfection does not exist, and control will kill you. I'm just going to let that one sit for a second. Perfection doesn't exist. Stop chasing it. What is perfect? What is your definition of perfect? How will you ever feel perfect? How will you know when you're perfect? Perfection doesn't exist. Why are you chasing it? No one in this world is perfect. No business is perfect. Nothing is perfect. Perfect is this stupid word we made up to make everyone else feel inferior. Perfection does not exist. Not a single person on this planet is perfect. I don't give a fuck. Bring me one well-rounded, perfect individual in life, and I'll pay you $1 million because I'm telling you they're not perfect. So first off, perfect. It doesn't exist. Stop chasing it. Let yourself feel good about that. It doesn't exist. I'll never be perfect. If I waited for everything to be perfect, I wouldn't move in my business. I wouldn't have moved it all this year. I have launched things that were never perfect. They were imperfectly perfect. They were imperfectly perfect. And they took off. But if I allowed myself to get stuck in perfection, I would never have moved. So many people do this. Nothing will ever be perfect. Nothing. It won't. So allow yourself to release that idea and that notion. Throw it out the fucking window with logic. And as far as control over everything, I'm a massive control freak. I'm open and willing to discuss this. But if you do not let go of control, if you do not surrender to the universe, surrender to outsourcing, your business will drown so quickly, because you will drown so quickly, because you will end up burnt out. You will end up tired. You will end up fed up. You will end up focusing all of your time and energy on bullshit that does not bring you happiness. And then when you have to show up in happiness, you won't be able to, because you're so burnt out. You've got to let go of control. People who are so afraid of outsourcing, you've got to spend the money, man, because it's the only way your business is going to grow. The CEO of Amazon is not literally taking all of the online orders, going to the warehouse, packing them up, taping the boxes, printing out the printer labels, and then he's not grabbing them, jumping into a van, strolling to their house, dropping them off on your front lawn. No, fuck no, he's not. He wouldn't get anything done if he did that. Instead, he outsources the shit out of everything. And he was able to grow his business into a billion. I think he's $76 billion. I think Adam was telling me this guy is worth. In order to have your business grow, you're gonna have to outsource, dude. You're gonna have to outsource. Hey, Jeff, how's Amazon doing? You have to do it. You cannot expect your business to be run by you. You can try, you'll burn out, you won't show up. Your business will hit a certain income level and then it won't grow. You want to know how to make the next income level? Channel your inner 7-figure, 6-figure version of you. Think of what she would need. We're going back to the beginning. Look at this. And then make decisions from that place, not from the place that you're at now. If I didn't outsource bookkeeping, if I didn't outsource, what else do I outsource? Helping me fucking plan these retreats, because oh my God, the amount of shit that it takes to plan these retreats and all of these large scale events like membership sites and what we have coming in December, it takes more than me. So if I didn't hire Mary, if I didn't hire Tara for my podcasting, my social media management, my website, the membership site, if I didn't hire Tabitha to do my graphics, I would be fucking miserable. Do they cost me a lot of money? Oh yeah. Probably about $6,000 to $7,000. I had so many expenses last month. I spent $14,000 on expenses last month. Let that fucking sink in. $14,000 on outsourcing and expenses for this business. Scary, right? That number makes me want to throw up 6 ways to Tuesday. But you know what? It had to be done so that December, November, and December could be really big months. So that we could get the apparel line up and running. So that we could get the mastermind up and running. So that we could get all of the big surprises we have in December, and for the mastermind ladies up and running. In order for us to put a payment on the retreat house up and running, for us to hire a personal chef, for us to hire a yoga instructor for the retreat, for us to hire, who else do we hire? A photographer. Oh shit. Never mind. For us to do all of that, son of a bitch. For us to do all of that, it costs money. So you have to outsource. You're going to have to spend money on your business. And that number may make you want to throw up. It makes me want to throw up as well. But stop and think about it this way. I spent $14,000 on everything this last month. And in 2020, with how many women do we have in the mastermind now? 6? 6 women? Yeah, I think it's 6. Walking into 2020, I will have already, by the end of 2020, made $120,000. Without including the subscription, without including the other 7 seats that are available for the retreat, for the mastermind, not including the group coaching programs I'm running. $120,000 I'm walking into 2020 with. But I had to spend money in order to do it. I had to spend money to get there. And it was terrifying. But it has to be done. You're going to have months that you are turning what I turned last month. I think it was a 67% profit. Not last month. September, I turned a 67% profit. Last month, 22. Broke my fucking heart. 22%. You're going to have months where your expenses are going to outweigh your income. You're going to have months where your outcome is going to totally outweigh your expenses. This is going to happen. This is a part of life. And if you're really struggling with this, I highly suggest you reach out and get into Badass Wealth, because this is literally everything Badass Wealth is about. I don't even ever think I actually announced what Badass Wealth was about. Badass Wealth is about stepping into the next level version of you. It's about embodying her before she even exists. It's about all of the mindset shifts that you need to get through in order to break the glass ceiling that you put on yourself. Because the only person putting limitations and a glass ceiling on you is you. And imagine if you could just bust through that glass ceiling, get through all of the mindset problems and hit that next income level, because there is no glass ceiling. That's what Badass Wealth is going to be about. So if you are struggling with anything that we've talked about today, because this was like, literally, I should put this as a masterclass for Badass Wealth. We'll be saving it. This is literally everything that Badass Wealth is about, because I had to go through all of these struggles and this letting go and this surrendering and outsourcing and getting out of my own head in order to reach the next level in my business. I had to do it. You have to do it as well. If you think it's all strategy, it's not, because strategy will only get you so far. Strategy will only get you so far. If your mindset is not there, your strategy will fail, because you're not ready for it. You're not ready for the next level of success. You're not ready to go through the glass ceiling. And so you're never going to bust through the glass ceiling. You're going to keep it on you. And every time that you don't deal with these mindset issues, you're going to add another layer of glass, and then another layer, and then another layer, and then another layer. And you're just going to keep smacking that glass like a bird running into a window over and over again. You have to do these mindset things in order to get to the next level. And so, yeah, that's what Badass Wealth is about. I realized I announced the program and I never told anybody what it's about. That's what Badass Wealth is about. Becoming the next level version of you. That's amazing. I just realized I never spoke about it. But that's what it's about. It's a mindset and strategy program. So we're going to focus on all of the mindset tricks and strategy and transformations and breakthroughs that you need to do to bust through the glass ceiling. And then once you bust through, I'm going to teach you the strategy part and the action plan part to then implement it all into your business so that you can have quantum leaps in your business in a very short amount of time. But yeah, so that's what it's about. So if you're interested in that, it's going to run in Q2 of next year. It's part of the mastermind. If you sign up with the mastermind, you do get into Badass Wealth and you get into Be a Boss Bitch next year as well. The new revamped Be a Boss Bitch. The New Year's version of Be a Boss Bitch. Alex, I don't know if this has been asked. I just popped on. But when you started and wasn't making six figures, what was your tagline? I help women step out of fear. No, that's my tagline now. No, that was right. I help women step out of fear and into their fierceness. So generic. And I'm okay with that. I help women step out of fear and into their fierceness. And I didn't launch the podcast until I hit six figures because I wanted to use the line, I help women step out of fear and into six-figure sales. So I was like, I have to hit six figures in sales before I ever launch my podcast. But yeah, guys, I'm going to get going because I'm energetically drained in a really good way. This was a great free coaching Friday, if I do say so myself. This was phenomenal. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like what you saw, go right ahead and click the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to head over to iTunes and check out my podcast, Fierce as Fuck. Thank you so much, and go grab today by the balls and make it your bitch.